Oh, hey everybody, Dylan here, and I was cleaning off my computer. I found this pre-recorded one for February 5th, 2024. I figured since it's the cool down from WrestleMania week and I still need to work on a couple episodes, that I'd throw this in here. So without further ado, I'm going to kick it over to Past Dylan. Here you go. They're in St. Louis, Missouri, by the way. They don't mention that until like three-fourths of the show's over with, I believe. Or at least that's the first time I noticed it. But anyway, the show starts with a recap video of Cody and everything that's happened up to that point in the Cody, Roman, Seth story. And then after that, we have Seth Rollins come out. He does his normal intro shtick as the crowd sings his praise. He mentions what happened at SmackDown. By the way, this was before the WrestleMania press event, so this was when The Rock came out and said, "I want Roman," or whatever he actually said. I can't believe, Past Me didn't include this for whatever reason, but hi, editing Dylan here. So that WrestleMania press conference I was talking about, if you haven't watched it by now, I recommend watching it for the sake of, following through with the story full. It adds a story arc, which, as if you're in current time, you saw where that story arc goes and develops into. So yeah, definitely recommend it both as a wrestling wrestling fan, and also as somebody who wanted to keep up with the bloodline story. I recommend watching that press conference that I just mentioned. Anyway, back to Past Me. And the crowd immediately boos that and starts chanting for Cody. Seth then asks them if they want Cody. After he asks, a huge pop happens for Cody, and he says that he shares the same thing in common because he wants Cody also. Then tells him to come on out. Cody immediately comes out. By the way, just so you know, he did the whoa thing on cue, but the camera didn't pose to him on time. None of the 4 times that he does the whoa thing tonight, none of them are on time. I'm going to start keeping a track of that because that's just a weird bit I want to keep track of. Commentary mentions how Cody's been trending worldwide apparently for 3 days straight at that point. Cody does his normal opening bit, the "hey, insert town here, what do you want to talk about?" And during that time, the crowd floods him with "we want Cody" chants, and the whole camera side of the arena has "we want Cody" signs, the little white signs. I've heard multiple sources on that it was planted by the WWE, and also that just some random schmuck came in with a bunch of signs and handed them out. So take of that as you may. I'm enjoying this work shoot. As he's getting into what he wants to talk about, the crowd chants "Rocky sucks," and Cole acknowledges it. Michael Cole, that is. Acknowledges it on commentary and asks if it's 1996 again. Seth also acknowledges the chant. He's like, "I never thought I'd hear that." And he tries to cut his promo, but as soon as he starts it, a "we want Cody" chant starts, and there's a faint amount of people saying "no, we don't." And then there's a "Rocky sucks" chant, and then a louder amount of people saying "no, we don't," which is not correct grammar. So they play into that for a bit, but then they remember they have a show to do, so Seth finally cuts his promo, says he's going to cut to the chase. He understands what Cody's going through, but he needs answers. He hypes up the World Heavyweight Championship and how he's carried it and has been the workhorse. And he hypes up how he needs Cody more than Cody needs that match. He brings up their history and then asks Cody just point blank if he's going to fight him at WrestleMania. Unfortunately, we don't find out the answer to that because Drew McIntyre comes out and says, "What the hell?" He talks about how he set them both up perfectly for their WrestleMania matches, yet they screwed it up. Drew runs down Seth about how it's supposed to be Drew versus Seth at Mania, and he begs Cody to finish the story and not listen to Seth and go after Roman. He then says that he was Dusty's chosen champ at FCW, and he begs Cody to not disappoint Dusty. Seth then tells Drew that he doesn't have to be a prick about it, and who thinks that Drew is going to be Seth's challenger since he already lost twice to Seth. Drew then justifies those losses, saying, "Oh, well, I got screwed out of it," and then calls Seth a hypocrite, basically. He then says that Seth's done an amazing job with that title. Nobody wants to fight Roman because they know somehow that Roman's family is going to get involved and fight his fight for him. But the World Heavyweight Championship is where the best men will fight, except when he's been screwed over. Cody tries to say something, but Drew cuts him off, saying that he wasn't finished and that if Seth was a real workhorse, they would have shot him on the first injury. He then says it's time for Drew to take that title. He said more than that, but that's how he finishes it, and then he cheap shots Seth. I think he gives him a headbutt, and then they get into a scuffle until Cody ducks a punch and then punches him out of the ring. As they're going on to the next segment, I think you hear Drew say, oh, maybe it should be Drew versus Cody at WrestleMania. After that, they then show Becky Lynch arriving and the former... Oh, wait, I forgot to rank that, didn't I? Okay, so we're going to say 4 stars. I might cut the whole rank thing, but for now, we're going to keep it. Yeah, so then they show Becky Lynch arriving and the former women's tag team champions, Katana and Chance. Hold on. I didn't write down their names. I apologize. Despite reviewing it weekly, I barely keep up with the product. Minus the big stories. It's Katana. Okay, yeah, I was right. Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. There we go. I apologize thoroughly on that. Anyway, it shows them also arriving earlier today, which, as I was doing this, side tangent, sorry. As I was doing this, I thought about it and I was like, man, this is such a weird new thing to add. But then I was like, no, this is just a modern version of how we used to have shots of like the limo pulls up and then out of the limo comes The Rock or whoever. So that's kind of cool that they found a modern way to do it after I sold myself on it. All right. After that, they run down the card for later on tonight, and then we get a match. I think it's a title elimination qualifier. I think that's how they word it. Between DIY, Imperium sans Gunter, not again, and New Day sans Biggie. This is my running bit. This is all I got. We're keeping it. So yeah, that match was pretty stinking long in the best way possible, and it ends after I think the Creed brothers do the Brutus bomb onto Vinci, I think. No, Kaiser. Kaiser took it, and then I think they jumped on. I think he jumped onto everybody outside the ring, and during that distraction, DIY come in and hit Kaiser with meat in the middle. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And then they win and they advance to SmackDown against, I'm not going to say the winners because I'm going to review SmackDown on Friday, so you'll just have to wait till then. I'm being a little tease. We then go backstage where Shayna's getting ready. She's putting on like her gi. And she's talking about the last time that she was in the chamber. She went through everybody just to get a shot at Becky and failed. But tonight she gets Becky all to herself. And then it transitions to Becky cutting a promo where she's walking to the ring. She said that last time she had to beat Shayna because her title was on the line. This time she needs to beat her because her future is on the line. After she says that line, she immediately shoots to the ring. Like she finishes her line, she's still walking. It's showing that camera angle and it plays her music. I love those spots. Also, I forgot to rank that other match. I'm sorry. We're going to rewind just... Okay, so I'd rank that match 3.5 stars. It was a really good tag team match. I wish that they built this up for like a couple weeks starting, maybe in December. But hey, you know what? As long as tag teams get their thing, that's cool. All right, now fast forward. All right, after that, they have their match where Becky wins, and that was a qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber, by the way. So she is now qualified for a chance against Rhea if she wins the chamber. I said that wrong. There's going to be 6 women inside that chamber. Whoever wins there has a number 1 contenders match, or becomes the number 1 contender for Rhea. After that, Kathy Kelly's backstage with Liv Morgan, who has a match next week against Zoe Starks. By the way, she's on Raw, apparently. I did not know that. And she's asked about the match. She talks about how tough Zoe are, but these girls, according to her, have nothing to do with her business. And she's been out almost a full year. She said it differently than this, more charismatic and complicated, but I got the highlights. The only one that had business with her is Rhea, and that she's going to beat her, and, watch me. Listen, Liv Morgan's stan here, but, also, I didn't remember this until commentary said it. Rhea was apparently the woman that took her out. So that's why they have beef. Hold on, what would have been a year ago? Roughly about January. Yeah, I think I was watching at this time because I remember when Liv and Raquel held the tag team titles and Liv was out with a shoulder injury. Was that the same time window? I think. Anyway, Kathy Kelly then sends it back to commentary when they talk about a live event that I'm a little bitter because I was supposed to go to, but you know what? C'est la vie. During this live event at Knoxville, Cody got missed backstage after his match with Shinsuke Nakamura, and that led to them having a bull rope match tonight. Also, I think did I rank that segment? No, I didn't rank that match. Okay, that match gets 3.5 stars. I'll remember to rank this match, I hope. After the ad break, we go backstage where Adam Piss, that's correct. Adam Piss is talking to Drew, yelling at him about taking out 2 not medically cleared people, and that he's going to fine Drew for that, and every time that he wears the shirt. He then hears Rhea's music, and it transitions to a TV behind him that has a shot of Rhea coming out, which I thought that was kind of cool. And he's upset about that because she wasn't supposed to come out. It's not a part of the script, work shoot. Drew's giving him shit the whole time, and he's like, you should probably deal with that. And he's like, you know what, I'm going to deal with that. So she comes out to the ring, and she grabs a mic and demands that Nia Jax gets in this ring so she can rip her bloody head off. See, I didn't do an Australian accent. I thought about it, but I passed this time. She continues talking, but Pierce cuts her off and says, we aren't doing this right now. As he's talking, he heads to the ring. He says that she's got Nia Jax at the Elimination Chamber for the title. Pierce tried to pull her, backstage, was like, all right, and now that we're done here, let's continue on with the show. And as he's trying that, Nia Jax comes out. He tries to get in the middle of them, and Nia just shoves him out of the way. He takes a couple of bumps. So after he gets bumped by the women a couple times, he calls out security. And security gets in between Rhea and Nia, but then they take out, I think just Nia actually, takes out security, and she backhands one of the security guards, which, by the way, poor guy. And then Nia gives Rhea an annihilator to end the segment. I'll remember, I give that 3.5 stars. That's my, if a match was okay, not offensive, and it built the story, it gets 3.5 stars. After that, we have a highlight of Bayley on SmackDown and how she's going after what? I'm not going to say, because I forgot I had to review that. Hey, you're not hearing that. After that, we go backstage to where the women's tag team champions are getting ready. They're by themselves. That's the Kabuki Warriors, by the way. Then we have a mixed tag team match where Alpha Academy's Tozawa and Maxine Dupree. So I guess Alpha Academy sans Gable sans Otis. They're going up against what's left of the Viking Raiders. Why did I write it like that? That's so fucked. You know what? I'm keeping that. Where the Viking Raiders flatten Alpha Academy, and Ivar gives Tozawa a world's strongest slam off the second rope to the win. Maxine tried to distract him when he was up on the rope, but it didn't work. God, I want to call her by her old name. Valhalla, there we go. Valhalla gives her one of those launch up in the air headbutt things to take her out, and that got them the win. 3 stars. Commentary then recaps last week's Judgment Day segments. That's right, segments, by the way. I literally wrote segments instead of segments. All right. Then we go backstage where Judgment Day, sans Rhea are talking. Finn off the bat says, DIY, who's the other guys? Who the other guys? Oh, okay. Then, he was like, DIY, Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate. DIY, Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate. He does that 5 or 6 times. I can't. And then he's like, it doesn't matter because we're going to beat him either way. He's not sweating it. And then after that, everybody talks about what they're doing tonight, basically. Dom says Rhea's good. She's not happy, so it's best if they leave her alone. Priest asks JD if he can handle the Miz, and JD says yeah. And then, who pulls him out? No one pulls him out yet. R-Truth hops in the shot. He hops on Damien and Finn's back. I think he's like, hola, que pasa family, or something like that. You know, he's like, what's up, family? And he asks what they're talking about. JD says that he's lucky that JD has a match, or JD would wipe the floor with him. R-Truth's like, well, somebody's got to do some dusting in here. It's getting kind of bad. The cobwebs up there. And as he's doing that, JD's like pretending to go after him, and Dom's pulling him back, and they get outshot. They leave the clubhouse. He then says he gets it. Last week was the re-initiation after he had the pre-initiation. Ben can't handle this, so he just says he's out, and he walks out of the clubhouse. Then Priest tells Truth to make himself at home, but it's like, make yourself at home. And that gets a big pop. Truth finds a box of shirts and has an idea. As we go to JD with Dom versus The Miz, it's a normal match until Truth comes out and starts handing out t-shirts to the crowd, which distracts JD from connecting with a moonsault. Then they have a little back and forth for a bit. And as Dom's staring down The Miz, he's kind of close to the barricade. So R-Truth puts a t-shirt over him. They keep on calling it straight jacket style. And then Miz gives him like a drop kick or just a super kick or something like that, and knocks Dom down. Then he gets on the apron and he gives JD a cut. So Miz gets back into the ring, keeps on going back and forth. And then R-Truth distracts JD with a cut of his money. He finally got the cut. JD grabs the money and then ends up eating a skull-crushing finale where he throws the money up in the air, and Miz gets to win. Truth collects the money, and as Truth and him are walking up the ramp, they pose together. Miz and Truth does to end the segment. So I don't know if Truth playing mind games or he's just like friends with everybody, whatever, and it's just working out. Either way, freaking 3.5 stars. I'm a little biased. I almost said 4. They then have a hype video for the women's tag team title match. And then Pierce is backstage with Imperium sends Gunter, and they demand details on Gunter's ring, how it will look for his just him talking basically later on. Pierce assures them that it'll be fine for the 80th time, but they need to leave because he's expecting company. At that moment, Braun Breaker comes in, and Pierce shows him a Raw contract while they talk it over, and that's how we fade to that segment. When we come back from the ad, commentary sends it to the ring where Imperium sans Gunter, how many times can I get that bit over, demands that everybody applaud for the arrival of the Ring General Gunter. Oh my god, I'm such a smartass. I'm going to read what I wrote verbatim. Imperium's Gunter comes to the ring with the podiums. The ring has podiums, by the way, and says he's celebrating the Jubilee of 600 days as Intercontinental Champion. He then says he appreciates the effort that was put in to making the ring a celebration from Kaiser, but going forward, Ludwig doesn't want them. It doesn't matter how many days he has the title, he'll still be the greatest champion, and nobody will ever defeat him. And he asks who's left on the roster, and as he says that, Jey Uso answers the challenge. Jey says that main event, Jey Uso's now your city. That's the only bit I'll do. Oh yeah, and of course the yeet. Gunter says he gets simple gestures for a simple audience. He's talking about the hand thing. He then brings up how he eliminated Jey at the Rumble, so he gets it, but he feels like Jey has disrespected him. Jey then says he doesn't mean any disrespect and runs down Gunter's credentials. Then Gunter runs down Jey's accomplishments as a tag team champion and all this history he has as a tag team. And he said it was easy for him because he only had to put 50% of the work in to get there. That hyped up Jey, and he said that he's ready to challenge Gunter and win that IC title at any time. Gunter says that Jey wasn't the first or the last to ride Gunter's coattails, and he will make him an example worse than his brother or his own family could. And then he says yeet, and then shoulder blocks him, which causes Jey to tackle him, and they have a big old beat down where full Imperium ends up getting the advantage on Jey. But during that time, the New Day, sans Big E, comes out to even the odds. And that's how we end that segment. Oh, yeah, I forgot I had to rank this. 4 stars. Yeet. Commentary then plugs the WrestleMania kickoff event, and we go to Shinsuke talking about how he will embarrass Cody later on in their match, and, that he will embarrass Cody later on in the match that Cody's family made famous. After that, we get a Carter and Chance match against the Kabuki Warriors for the Tag Team Championships. I don't know why I did that. It ended with the Kabuki Warriors doing the Scorpion Death Drop, elbow drop combination thing. 3 stars. It was a solid match, but I figured they weren't going to lose the titles just on a random Raw. We then go to an interview earlier today where Sami was asked, he was sitting in the crowd alone with the interviewer, and he was asked about where he was this time last year. He was just asked a question. And he talks about where he was this time last year and how basically after on the Elimination Chamber where he lost to Roman, he went backstage and Triple H told him that he's the Rocky of the WWE because he's a contender that won the fans' respect on that day, and it wasn't about winning, it was about getting their respect, and that one day he'll be a champion. He was asked if there's a part of him that needs to prove something by winning a title, and he said partially there is, but mostly it's for the people that believed in him to prove to them that it wasn't for nothing. They then plug the main event that's coming up right after this ad. Just kidding. They plug next week's Raw after that and the Mania kickoff. Mania kickoff, which again, I'll just talk about the Bloodline segment from that. I was going to do a full review, but the rest of it's kind of not noteworthy with all due respect. Anyway, after they plug everything, we have a bull rope match. During that bull rope match, commentary makes sure to note that is bull rope that Dusty used. Cole was trying to sell it as that's a bull rope he used in every one of his matches, but Pat McAfee ends up saying that Dusty used it in some of his matches, which sounds more accurate. There was some clever usage of the bull rope. I really enjoyed some of these spots. And of course, there's 2 or 3 shots with the actual bell, with the actual cowbell. God, Cody took a headshot, and it was like the safest headshot ever. Like, he had those hands up, but I bet still parts of that probably had to connect, and that probably sucked. There was a callback to where Cody puts him in the figure 4 and then gets dunked over the head like I was just talking about. Nice little callback to, I think, Dusty and Flair. The match itself ends with a sequence of events. Basically, Cody gets blinded by the mist, and then he ends up wiping it from his face. He ends up just randomly swinging by sheer stroke of luck, gets a couple hits in, and then he wipes the mist from his face and uses the bull rope to low blow Shinsuke a couple times. Only on the second time Shinsuke got flipped, and then he hits a crossroads to win. As the show's going off air and Cody's celebrating, Drew comes out and beats the shit out of Cody. So I'm going to give that segment freaking 4.5 stars. I love that Cody, no matter which company it's for, Cody is the old school specialty guy. That's pretty sick. Alright, at this point, whenever I was recording it, I just blabbed on about some things at the time. So, that basically does it. Thank you all for listening. Next week, hopefully, we'll review the previous week, and the previous week we'll review the previous week, and you know how this goes. Alright, bye!